there's some Revelator songs that I'm like, man, we got to bring those back. But we've done so many songs and albums. There's like so much to choose from that I guess we don't think about it all the time.
We need to get you a really good slide player in Nashville, and you guys need to cover a Derek Trucks song.
You know, he told me Susan wrote the song, which he was proud of. He said that with great pride, you know, the way you say nice things about your family.
From the first note with Tedeschi Trucks, they just blow you away.
Yes, we will. I wouldn't argue with anyone that says that could be my favorite song on I Am the Moon.
He, signs my ticket, and I look over at Susan. I say, Susan, would you sign it too? And she goes, oh, heck yeah.
Kevin calls me and was like, hey, man, what are you doing? I was like, nothing. He was like, Derek wants to record some tuba stuff. I said, when do you want to do it? And he was like, let's do it Wednesday.
It's Midnight Harlem. And it caught our attention, man. And we started diving deep, and we're like, okay, we got to see these guys.
What's up? Welcome to the unofficial Tedeschi Trucks podcast. This is episode number 175. I am Adam Choate. To follow the show, it's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. Please subscribe on YouTube and whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. We're on Odyssey and iHeartRadio now as well, if you listen on those platforms. Patreon.com/TTB podcast. Please consider supporting the show. I appreciate that for sure. At the second two tiers, a portion of your contribution does get donated to the Mr. Holland's Opus Foundation as part of the Kofi Burbridge Music Matters Fund. So you will be supporting a good cause on top of supporting this podcast, which I think is also a good cause too. But if you want a shout out, you can support at any tier. So thank you, Kathleen, Stacy, Troy, Daniel, Mariah, and Marion for supporting. I appreciate that. But for today, what are we doing here? We're recapping what do we got? 3 in Boston and 1 in Providence. We'll get into the venues, and I think we got all 4 of those recent New England shows represented here by returning guests, Zach Transport and Tracey McKay. So let's bring them in and get into it. I don't think I forgot to do anything there. What's up, guys?
Hey, how you doing?
What's cracking?
Howdy.
We're here. Didn't I have you two on before, just the two of you guys?
We have been on one other time together.
Maybe.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay, by the way?
Yeah, you're good. Everybody looks good.
Perfect.
Sounds good. And
Great.
hopefully feels good. Where are you, Zach? And which TTB show of these runs? Which ones did you go to?
Yeah, so I am back home now in Natick, Massachusetts, and I was at the MGM show. I was at the 2 Wang shows as well.
So you did not go to...
Did not go to Rhode Island, no.
That was the first one of this run, so you're at the last 3.
Well, no. So Rhode Island was actually wedged in between the 2 shows.
Right. Oh, okay. And Tracey, where are you?
I went to Providence and the first night, second night, but first night Wang.
Right.
Yeah,
so the
Friday.
middle 2 of the 4.
Middle Boston one. Yeah.
Essentially, I got you. Cool. Let me try my headphones. Is there a little echo? Chat. Is anyone listening? Do you guys got a little echo, or is that just coming through me here?
Oh no, it's probably something to do with my microphone. I'm gonna try to pop out of here and do this again. Why don't you start with Tracey and talk about Rhode Island? I'll try to figure out my situation.
I think that's a good idea because we got her laptop with a charger that was left out the office.
Yep.
We are all having a day. I think
it's gonna be one of those days. I mean, that's just what it is. So. I'll pop back in a little bit. We'll figure something out. You guys talk about Rhode Island. I'll come back. Okay.
Yeah, we'll do it.
All right.
So I hear it's a lovely place to visit, from what I understand. They're
Beautiful
famous
theater.
for their. Yeah, I'll pull up the poster and whatnot here. That's the Massachusetts one here. Let me see what we got here.
Providence. Rhode
Providence.
Island.
Providence.
Yep.
That was the one with the bird on it.
Yes, had a bird on it. Yeah.
Or no, was that yeah.
That is it. Yep.
That be it. That's cool. I like the colors on this one. What is that? A pelican? I don't know.
Pelican, yeah.
Do you know anything? Where are you at again? Where do you live in?
I'm in Connecticut.
Connecticut.
And I do not, I mean, it is the ocean state, but as far as a Pelican, the people that I spoke to that were from Rhode Island didn't really get what the Pelican really represented, but like the design of the poster.
Yeah, no, and the floating instruments is interesting.
I think that's really cool.
It's dramatic. What does that symbolize? Maybe I'm thinking too deeply about this, as you are with the Pelican and everyone else.
Well, because that's what we do, right?
Yeah, it's there. It's
What is
there
the
for
meaning and everything?
I think so.
Sure.
There usually tends to be, and just based on the history of us analyzing posters and the posters themselves, like, you know, there's always seems to be that local flair in these things.
Yes, like I don't know which lighthouse it is, if that's
Yeah.
actually representing. Like the Connecticut ones have a lighthouse on them from last year.
Right, and sometimes with this artwork, they combine multiple elements of things that kind of look like they could be multiple, you know?
Yeah.
It's like a tease. It's like a tease within the poster. You get a little tease of some other element of the city or of the band.
I agree. Yep.
I should zoom in, because every time I zoom in on these posters, I find something that I did not see. Even if it's just like the details in the eye that make it look super lively, alive. What is this wrapped around it? This is some kind of sea creature.
An octopus, I would guess.
I guess.
Looks like an octopus.
Right.
It has tentacles.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. There's 1, 2, 3. Tentacles.
Yeah, it's wrapped around almost everything.
The Vets, Providence, Rhode Island. Nice little shells, the details.
Yeah, on the sides. That's neat. Oh,
That's super
let me get back. I
got a picture on the of the venue. Was that it? I didn't label these. I should have labeled these. I know which one.
From that angle.
This was it, I think. Was that it?
That looks. Oh, I don't know if I took a picture of the ceiling. Yeah, that looks more like it.
Providence.
The Vets.
Vets. Venue.
The Vets Auditorium.
Right. Yeah, this is it, I think.
Really cool sound.
Yeah.
Great acoustics in that room. Really nice to see them in that theater. I don't know how many people it holds. I meant to look today, actually, because I was curious.
Had they played at this
Oh,
point?
that's what I told them to try to do, was open that. Yeah.
1,931 capacity, built in 1928 to 1950. I guess it reopened. Like, it seems like all these venues, they close down, they get refurbished.
Yeah.
I see Zach there. We can try him again here. There he is.
Howdy.
Hey.
I see you and I hear you.
How we doing?
Oh, that sounds pretty good. I don't hear any echo really.
Oh, good.
Sweet. We're just looking at the venue. We looked at the poster, the Pelican for no reason. No, we're speculating that there is a reason for the Pelican poster.
Nice.
But yeah, this is a cool looking venue.
Nice.
We could get into the set list for it. Let's see if I got that one. I got the that's Boston. We're going out of order, but that's all right. Life can be full of zigs and zags.
It sure can.
I'll
read it for the audio listeners, and I'll put it on audio version of this, of course. Playing with my emotions, ain't that something? Here, my dear. Crying over you, Bell Bottom Blues. Why does love gotta be so sad anyhow? Idle Wind, in memory of Elizabeth Reed. Little by little, it ain't fair. I want more. Bex Bolero. Just Won't Burn, Made Up Mine, an encore of a song for you, and Get What You Deserve. This, I think, just went up on the archive, or at least
I listened to it today.
So I caught I kind of jumped around and get the whole thing, but a little Crying Over You, a little bit like Liz Reed, and so I got a little sampling of the show, the Bell Bottom Blues, I caught too. But yeah, I'll let you tell me about what jumps out at you and just react to
highlights of the night. Hear My Derek solo and Hear My Dear. If you have a chance, listen to that for sure. That was definitely it's one of my favorites on I Am the Moon, and I always like to hear that live. But that night was particularly special. for me. And let's see, Why Does Love Got to Be So Sad? Out of the gate, Derek, complete fire. And then the Derek Kebby exchange I feel like there's a lot more intensity with the horns, with it just being two horns the last few nights.
They have
I
to
feel
up
like
their
we
game.
got a lot more horns, and it was really cool to watch all of that be orchestrated in front of you as they're navigating through that, as the true professionals they are. And that was a great moment for me.
They probably
Right
see
now.
it as an opportunity, Kevy and Elizabeth, to. So it was no trumpet.
Right, no trumpet.
Right.
These shows that I saw, anyways. Yep.
Still sounds pretty damn good. What I've caught from these
absolutely.
shows. Yeah, Here, My Dear. I guess, and I've said this before. I associate it with I Am the Moon, perhaps. I mean, definitely just as much as any song on those 4 albums, especially because it was like the first song on the first album, the first one they like teased as part of like the promotional for the whole thing, and they played it on the Fireside, shows and all that. And something about this song, it just feels like home. There's certain words that I associate with like with really every song, whether it's something that a feeling that it gives me or like the theme of the song. And I think, I don't know if they're consciously even doing that. There's a certain balance and a certain ebb and flow and a variety to the set list, like from theme to theme. Like themes overlap, but they're different. Love and heartbreak and longing and
absolutely
and friendship and psychedelic things and
well, and this had that, Crying Over You, Here, My Dear, Why Does Love Got to Be So Sad? So kind of follows exactly.
What are they, some kind of blues band?
Weird. I know. For me, it brings me to the book. Did you read Layla Majnun?
I guess not from front to cover.
Okay, so
the ChatGPT summary.
I did, and I really enjoyed it. And there were parts where I kept having to like reread over to really understand and the story and what was happening. And then listening to I Am the Moon, this song really, really stands out for me and brings me right back into reading the book and knowing the story. So I would say read the book. It was really fantastic. And this song particularly speaks to me and brings me right back to the book.
Their last, if you want to consider I Am the Moon 4 albums, if you put that with like Signs was before I Am the Moon, right?
Yeah.
Those are some heavy albums and thematically like heavy material. I think even in a way that the first 3 albums weren't, and that's no slight or criticism to the other albums, but there's definitely like a deep heaviness and seriousness and solemnness and just like existential heartbreak about these albums that are there. Like, it's cool. It's powerful stuff.
It speaks to what's happening, around them and around the world, I believe, for me, that's what I feel like it is, especially the music they're writing.
Yeah, we got Signs, and then that tiny little EP there as well, the High and Mighty, and then we got I Am the Moon.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But there's the lyrics and their songs and the themes. They sing in a way, I guess it's like a Dylan-esque way of writing or whatever, but it's like written in a universal way that's appealing to everyone, but you can tell that they have specific things in mind and inspirations, when they're writing these songs. It's like a magical thing. It's a creatively impressive thing that they're able to accomplish with these songs, let alone all the covers that they do. Like, I'm sure It Ain't Fair was a moment.
Oh, one of the best ones I've seen. Love that. But that night, spectacular. Yeah.
People who don't know when that's what's going on when that's about to happen, they must like.
Well, yeah. So for the description of that one, it's basically, you see the mic come forward, you see Alicia come forward, and you hear kind of the starts of like this really nice track, and then all of a sudden you see Alicia starts her thing and does her belting of her phenomenal performance on this Aretha Franklin song, and you just get this killer vibe from the entire band, and every time you see it, you're like, God damn, that's even better than the last time.
Yeah.
Great.
We can jump around shows, of course. So we don't have to something like, Zach, we don't have to feel like you're talking.
No, you're good.
About
Exactly.
this show.
No, you're good. You're good. I want to make sure that the show gets the proper coverage that it deserves, because I heard this one was like a killer show.
It's on. I was saying it's on.
Yeah.
Someone, I should give them credit for recording it, but it is on the archive now.
Is it
Yeah,
Bob?
definitely.
'Cause
Huge
Bob
thanks.
Bob did the Wang.
Bob
Hundermark.
Yeah, he's been on the podcast before.
Yeah. He's
nice
great.
guy.
He's great.
Thanks.
Yeah, we got a comment
Thank
here
you, Bob.
from Kirk with a different poster for every show. I wish they would have a small explanation by the artist posted, like Swamp Family, like something about the. I think he's asking something.
That's a good
Like a descriptor. A descriptor.
No, that's. I mean, maybe. I mean, yeah. It's fun to speculate, but that's part of the mystery. Like, I guess of like, not giving away too much information. I kind of like,
or maybe more like a backstory, because I think I remember
a little bit.
I think Kirk might be alluding to the Boston shows. I think there was a description that was left by the artist about why they chose to do the BU bridge and the whole crossing area where the that train track line goes, where the water you can get under by boat, and then there's also the plane that goes over top. I remember there was that
one, because that was for last year, right?
Yeah, for the garden party. So I feel like there was like a description or something, and we haven't seen it other than
this one here?
No. That's
this year.
Wang. That's this one for the Wang. But for the garden party, there was a BU bridge one. It was September 2023, and it was like the stone bridge. It's basically like right on Sturrow Drive. Like if you look out to the left with the river on your left hand side. Look at me, I'm talking like I know I do. So the thing about that is where was I going with that?
You're still talking about the poster with the plane, train, and thing that all can go at the same time?
Yes, and so thank you. So the description was released with that, and I remember the backstory. And I think the only other time we got a backstory was the explanation for the Red Rocks poster this year about the AI, which is a whole other discussion. But yeah, we can that can be a whole other thing. But yeah, a whole episode by itself. But the descriptions of the artwork would actually be nice, because I've seen there are discussions that people try to have where they're like, oh, I think it's this, and then someone will be like, oh no, that's stupid, that's not what it is, it's this, and or like, oh, the area would like that doesn't make sense to the area. So there might be a reason why the artist chose a certain thing that they did. Like the New Hampshire one, there's it was pretty much a zoo, and I guess it makes sense because you have to, in order to drive up to New Hampshire, you have to pass by the zoo, right? So I don't know if that's the reason. There's many reasons we can speculate, because we don't know unless the artist decides to choose. So it's up to the artist as well if they want to leave it to interpretation, right, or share that description. So I don't think the band necessarily requires that. I feel like it's more like a choice, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess some things it looks like almost in the poster it's meant to be clear, but it could be two things. So it's like, which one do you, it's not, we're not giving away any artist secrets here.
Right. And some of them are more obvious than others, like the Beacon one from March, right? So that was a bunch of the buildings in the surrounding area in the New York City area, and then you've got the Beacon right in the center, and then you've got the amps and the guitars, and you can see the drums and the horns, and you can see the bass and like the different instruments all kind of there, and you're like, okay, this makes sense. This is New York City, it's the Beacon, there's instruments, the whole band, you can put it together. That's the poster. Or the Red Rocks posters that Pete Shaw did for 2023, right? Where like you can see the amphitheater, you've got the whole visual, you can look at it, right? And then you can see the buses, you can see the detail, and that's like, okay, that's setting the stage for Red Rocks. And then some other ones are up for interpretation, where it's like, so the one for MGM is the cod, right? Like that, that's like a Massachusetts thing, right? Like I'm not a New Englander, I'm a native New Yorker myself, but I know that I think that fish is like something because I've seen them on the Cape like all the time. So it's something that like someone was telling me it's something to do with like Massachusetts, but I know that it would be helpful if the artist would, release a descriptor to help with that one. I think the Wang is a little bit more obvious because I know that theater has like a history with the dragon or something. There's like some connection with that. But again, I'm not an expert. I don't want to claim to be an expert on the Wang. So if someone does, like Tracey or somebody, but
no, it's funny because Kirk was just saying in the chat, he basically reached out to the artist who did the posters and for the Seattle shows. So that's another way. Just reach out to the artist or try to. A lot of people are pretty accessible.
Oh yeah,
and they're excited to talk about their work. And I've had a poster artist or two on the show as well. Always down to talk to them, especially if they love TTB. Anything else about this set list? We could try to keep the train moving along a little bit, but
a song for you.
I was just going to ask you. I want to hear about a song for you.
A song for you was pretty spectacular. Definitely surprised. I don't know why I just did not expect that, but that was really special.
They did it one other time recently, or two other times, somewhat recently, or did I imagine that? Or is this one?
No, they did it on the Price tour recently. With the combo with Price and I think they also did it when Feet opened too.
Yeah, but we're not getting it. What's
that?
Yeah, we haven't got it too often, but we're getting the I Can't Make You Love Me a lot as far as like the stripped down the stripped down Susan encore song. So this is cool, I think, just for like to get something a little bit newer. What else? I want to hear something maybe even newer that they haven't done. That's like a Gabe Susan thing would be cool.
Yeah,
I'm sure fans out there have a million suggestions for like a Gabe Susan piano, vocal thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know there was a song that my girlfriend had suggested, and now it's getting by me. I'll open it on the app because I wrote a post about it. There was a song that so my girlfriend is not as big a fan as me. Actually, I'm like 10 times the fan. Like she's just a casual listener. She enjoys the music, and she really sees my passion as like this is a great thing. But she had a suggestion for me because there was some song that she was listening to, and she was like, I think Susan would kill this song. And it was let me see here. So
really, that could be any song, and these conversations we're all always having these conversations and thinking of and hearing songs that we think they can do, and it comes up all the time,
right?
But because they can sing the phone.
Oh, here we go. It was the Blower's Daughter by Damian Rice. And it's not a song I'm familiar with, but apparently, if you listen to this, and there's covers versions of it too that other people have done, it would be a stripped down Gabe and Susan, like just the two of them kind of deal. And apparently that would be a great cover. But so that would be something to look into if you haven't explored something like that yet.
This band like turns us all into like amateur little music arrangers to some
degree.
Yeah, I feel like we're all like thinking, oh, look, I could do something with the horns. Imagine the drums on this. Imagine this and this. Like it really does turn us all into little music producers and engineers, and
for sure,
mixers ourselves. Just like I don't know, there's just so many elements. I think it just makes us appreciate these musical instruments and musical instruments more in general. Like I don't know, this band has expanded. Like I've always loved all kinds of different music, but to see a band that has so many different musical instruments in it just definitely expands your ear.
Oh yeah, I mean there's a song that they do it's the Tracy Chapman song, and I was thinking I forget the Baby, if you want to go there. I forget the title of that. Oh, the way you move. What's the name of that song?
Baby, if you want to go there. If you want to, I don't know.
Yeah, but
no, just repeat it.
I was thinking like that would sound good with the Bob Dylan, the "Ooh, we ride me high, tomorrow's the day."
They haven't done that one in a while either.
Like the easy chair, or like the Bob Dylan song.
Yeah,
that would
you ain't going nowhere.
You ain't going nowhere. Exactly. Yeah. So like that would be an unbelievable like meld, because I know Susan loves Bob Dylan. And
it's funny you say that. I'll throw it out there because it's one. It is probably my favorite Bob Dylan song. Maybe is Mississippi off Love and Theft. I don't know if you know that song. To hear TTB do that song and maybe share the vocals, similar vibe to Tangled Up in Blue. Maybe even thematically a little bit too. Like
no, that would be.
They
great.
call that, I don't know who's they, but I've seen it referred to as like Bob Dylan's most autobiographical song. Which is not some. It just makes it that much more cool. But it's not really what. But he plays it, I think, sometimes here and there. But what TTB could do with that song, I'm sure, would be, take it to levels that Dylan would not even.
I would love to see them also do Love and Theft,
the whole album,
like something off of Love and Theft, or do something with it. Like, they're like, I would like to see. I would like to see maybe if they were to pick an album and do an interpretation of an album.
Yeah, or like a lock-in thing also.
Or
but they would do Love and Theft for a Dylan lock. They do
no.
They do Highway 61.
Yeah,
that would be the album they would do if they probably were to do.
That would be great. That would be great,
especially with like the Johnny Winter Highway 61.
Yeah, that was awesome.
For Derek.
That was awesome,
dude. We just came up with a good idea, and who could they team up with that to do?
Peter Shapiro. Let's contact Shapiro in some way.
No, well, they would with the lock-in sets. They're playing with another act, another band, another artist.
Who would we link up with them? Obviously, Phil and Friends, no question. Phil Lesh
to do the Dylan stuff. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
the Dead stuff.
Yeah, and get Joan Osborne back and do the the early Phil and Friends from the early 2000s when she was with them for a little while. And Joan Osborne, it's so funny. She had, at the time that she was playing with Phil, she had 2 different iPods in her dressing room with her. She had her regular iPod with all her music, and then the other iPod was filled with to the brim with Dead stuff, just like a ton of all these songs that she was rolling through. And I remember her telling me that was crazy, and it was like, it was the funniest thing because it was the iPod was a newfound thing, and I was like, oh my god, you have not just one, you have 2 iPod classics. That's so cool.
Not to go into too much of a tangent, but I guess when you're learning a new Grateful Dead song, is it like learning if you're joining or playing with TTB where you have to figure out and find out which version of a song you're playing? That's a thing with Grateful Dead too.
Yes, and that's the whole thing. That's why she had so many different versions, because is it the 70s version? Is it the 80s? Is it the 90s, where they sound like they have all of their own little pockets of what a version of a song of Eyes, I take Eyes of the World. It sounds different in multiple different eras of the Dead, right? So same with Tedeschi Trucks. Made Up Mind right now sounds completely different than the way that it did when it was back in when I was 10 years ago or something. It was
they all do 2020, 12, 15, 18, and you don't really even think about it. It's more like an evolution than necessarily jarring changes. It's just, which is cool. That's how these songs just grow, and the band somehow grow and they somehow get better. Should we talk about go back to the Fenway show?
Yeah, sure, that'd be great.
Let's do that, I guess. Anything else on Providence, Tracy?
Great crowd. I do got to give the crowd props. Standing up, dancing the entire night, beginning to end.
Yeah, I was gonna ask these shows
great vibe for a theater. Did not. I should have expected it as Rhode Island. Usually, it's a great music crowd, but also listened when we were supposed to. All those special moments. Lots of pin drop moments. It was really great. Good. I was able to dance the whole entire night. I can't say the same for Friday night. I still enjoyed it, but I definitely could not dance Friday night. And it was nice Thursday night. It was a great crowd. Met a lot of people for the first time in the bar beforehand and in line. Met a lot of people that I again saw Friday night. So that was really cool.
I guess the vibe at all 4 of these shows, it's Susan owns New England. Is that basically it?
You definitely get a lot.
Yeah. Oh, she said it was a hometown show. She said it herself.
It's fantastic. Absolutely.
Right.
Vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a festival. It's not an off the beaten path show. It's not this is a lot of hardcore fans and a degree or 2 of separation away probably from Susan. A lot of people at the shows.
Oh, there was a crazy story about somewhere I was in Boston on Friday, and that I met someone that knew her from back in high school, that was in a Little Shop of Horrors with her. And it was just a random, Mike had his Kofi shirt on, and this guy stopped us and he was like, "Can I take a picture of your shirt? I love the letter K. What does your shirt mean?" So we told him the story about who Kofi was, and that we were in town to see the Tedeschi Trucks Band. And he was like, "Oh, I know a Tedeschi, Susan Tedeschi." And we were like, "Yeah, that's her." And he's like, "She's playing in town tonight?" And we were like, "Yep, tonight and tomorrow night." He's like, "I got to look into that. I was in the Little Shop of Horrors with her. I'm from the South Shore. I knew her." So we told him where she was playing and told him to go there. But that was just a really cool moment in just walking around the city in Boston Friday.
Yeah, it makes for a more intimate, unique, fun like experience. It just gives more meaning to everything, like all the things that you're describing. You know, hanging out with people before the show and all that. Is this the?
Oh yeah, that's it. It was that was
a beautiful place.
That was my first time. No, that's the
Wang.
That's
MGM.
That's the Wang. That's the Wang. Go back a second. That's MGM.
That's MGM.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be MGM. So are we talking about MGM or the Wang?
Yeah, let's do the MGM first. We'll go back.
Okay. So Tracey, were you were at MGM too, or
I did not go to MGM? No.
Okay,
nope.
So it's me. Okay, here we go. Oh boy. All right, all right. So the backstage with Bobby, we did that. That was a fantastic experience, and I'll say the staff at MGM, phenomenal, wonderful people. Would love to go to that venue again. However, I will say it was interesting. They took the choice to do seats on the floor rather than just a general GA, which I think this venue has. You can see it's pictured here with no seats. I think that's a choice that some bands make. I know TTB made that choice because I believe they sold this, like as I was bought it, they sold the seats per Ticketmaster, like mapped out on seats. So there was no GA, there was no standing room. It wasn't like if you get to the venue first, you are able to rail ride, or if you can work your way up. It was more like it's very assigned, more like some of their other indoor venues that they do, like Beacon and other things like that. And I'm not sure why it was chosen for that. I think this crowd might be a little bit different than, say, like the crowd in New York. I think the Brooklyn shows are GA. Is that right, Adam?
Maybe.
Like I think they opened up. I think they opened up the Brooklyn shows on the floor. Not and I don't think the Cap. I think the Cap has seats, but I think if I remember correctly, the Brooklyn shows were being sold as GA. Like just like the whole entire map was open. It was blue, if I remember correctly. So this was done differently, where seats were assigned. It was a great venue. I had a little difficulty with hearing the sound at the venue versus at Wang because so when I'm comparing these two, I'm doing front row, dead center. They were able to balance the sound a lot better in Wang, I believe, than they were in MGM, at least my personal opinion. And it's because from where I was standing in the same spot where you would be relative to the band as 0.0, if you're looking at the band as 0.0 in terms of sonically, right? It was the balance, because I think it was how the speakers were laid out or something. There was a bit of like a muffle to the sound in the room. At least at the front of the stage. I bet if you were more towards the center of the room and you were dotted out either in one of the balcony seats or further out on the floor or somewhere like kind of like in the middle pocket of the room, you would have gotten a better mix because you would have been, hearing the sound waves at the front of the speaker cabinet rather than at the back. So I think. And I also the height of the stage, it was taller at MGM. The stage at Wang was much closer to chest height. So I think that also made it difficult being close up front because you had the band kind of playing almost over your head. I was kind of like looking up with the neck, and I think that was the problem for a lot of the floor, potentially for the floor people too, is if there was no slope because it was just a flat ground. the sound might not have carried well over the floor unless you were like in the speaker mix and you were getting like a good spot where the sound waves meet.
It was their first time playing at this place also, right?
Yes, it was their first time
I
playing
wonder if that's
MGM.
I wonder how that probably factors into like just how comfortable they are in a place, how comfortable the gentleman in the photo is, Bobby, like doing his job at these different places. I'm sure like even like coming back to the Beacon, like they always, I don't know. It's actually a good question. Probably it's just for anyone connected to the band. And the band is like, do they always feel better in quotes about night 2 of shows versus night 1? I would imagine like everyone is just that much more comfortable with everything. Everything's set up. You know where to go. You know where the bathroom is. You know.
He basically mentioned something like that. Yeah. Where to get like concessions, where to get your lighting things, where to get your this, where to get your that. He was saying that when like they basically finished this load in about like 2 or something like that hours, and then they basically had a bunch of time to chill because they made the load-in process was great for them, and then they were able to just be in the space, and then everything was comfortable. And then the second night there was no like need to do any kind of setup at all because it was just there, everything was set, and then they still got to do all their checks they got to do. They still got to run their pink noise every single day. They and by the way, Derek gets new strings every day on his guitar. Every day, and then the other guitars get new strings every week. So there's constant maintenance going on. It's not like a set and forget. Like it's okay. Like we can leave it. Like it's an operation. It's a production. It is a very well oiled machine with everybody having their parts and knowing what they're supposed to do. And so much so down to the fact that their patches, their leads, everything is labeled. So any union crew that they go to, they can load in and load out and be able to be like, if you know how to take a patch cable and you know where in is and you know where out is, and you can see, like Gabe left in, Gabe left out, right? You can plug and play, and basically it's almost like they have like a Lego brick block system to where they can bring anybody in who can help them do the setup and the loadout, so that they can go in, assess the area, see what things look like, get a sense of what they need to do, and then their stage space, it's exactly the same every time, right? So it's kind of like
that's true. Yeah, it's
like the distances between Derek and Gabe and Susan and Derek every single night. It's the exact same. It's like when you go on a set on a play, right? And you look at the tape on the floor, you can see Jane's cabinet goes right here every single night.
I try to
right?
be in the same spot in the studio here. My studio generally here.
Continuity, right? Because you're trying to present an image. You're trying to present something that's a vision that you want to see out, right? You see, that it's a familiar space. It's comfortable. People know the space. When they see you in the space, they're like, this is the Adam Choi. This is the Tedeschi Trust band, right?
Consistency builds trust, builds something like, I
right.
brand, all these things.
Right.
What do you think about this? You talking about referenced it, I think, before, but this is
well, first of all, I actually have I have a shot glass with a lobster on it, just like that my girlfriend got me from the Cape. So if they were going for accuracy, perfect on that one. I really do like the fish with the I forget what it's called, the cod. It's like a specific type of like a reference to something, but yeah, people are gonna know that like I'm not from Massachusetts. Like I grew up around here in like some parts of my life, but like I'm New Yorker, so this is hard for me. But
fluke
the
and
show
flounder.
was
Long Island is more fluke and flounder.
Exactly. Yeah. The show was fantastic for me. But so the poster, for the audio listeners, so we have a fish with a large mouth open up to the top of the poster, and then you've got like all sorts of references to loading docks and fishing nets and boating, because of course, like Massachusetts is known for the seafood and the docks and things like that. We have what do you call it, a lighthouse there off to the left hand side. A couple.
What is this in the back?
Shot glasses.
Is this the Mayflower?
I think that's one of the
ship.
No, that's one of the that's probably one of the. That's probably one of the old like ships that you can see in the downtown, like in the at the shipyard. You know what I'm talking about? Like the old like is it the Constitution or something? Is that what it is? The USS Constitution?
I'm not sure. Is this Red Sox red? Is that what the red is for or something? Very red.
I don't know, maybe. But the special poster, the exclusive poster was the number 2 poster that night, which was printed on pink, like a pink sheet rather than white, which everything else was.
Interesting.
Let me see, USS Constitution. I think that's the one that's in the Boston. Yeah, that's it right there. That's the one that's in the Boston Harbor. Let's see. Yeah, so it's got 3 masts, right, Adam? Can you see? 1, 2.
Oh, I lost it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so I think that might be the USS Constitution.
Fur Turtle is the artist.
And then you can see they've got like shot glasses with like the whale and the lobster there. Again, the seafood references and everything like that. Excellent.
I can go to the set list here.
Yeah, let's go to the set list.
Let's see here. Was that? Oh, that's Wang.
Oh, that's Wang. Yeah.
I got this one too here. Here we go.
Yeah, perfect. So we start off with "Don't Drift Away." Start off with "Don't Drift Away," which when we start off with "Don't Drift Away," that's gonna be it's gonna be a good show because that's a nice deep pull. And then right into "Anyhow." So these were just again. It was really nice to see. I think it was. Oh, I'm mistaking it for Second Night of the Fist. The Wang show. A couple had Anyhow shirts and they were hoping for it and they got it. So that was excellent. I love to see that. But this one, so we had Don't Drift Away, Anyhow, and then Allman Brothers with the Come and Go Blues, Playing with My Emotions, so Heavy. And then I always love Mojo. I love this Muddy Waters tune. And I know Susan introduces it as Muddy Waters. I know the
original is by a different artist.
Yeah, by a different artist. And for some reason, like it sometimes changes back to like not Muddy Waters, but they call out as like a Muddy Waters tune. So
it does say song by Muddy Waters, the first thing that comes up.
Yeah, good. So I love this tune. I've always loved Muddy Waters. I've always loved this. I've always loved Susan's association with Muddy Waters. And again, like so when I was a kid, like my dad got me into all this like early blues stuff, and all the like the Capitol records and everything like that. And the Muddy Waters stuff, it's just like deeply ingrained in my childhood, and it's very, very important. And it's great stuff because it exposed me to like all these different musicians that were playing in the same circuit. And I don't know if you ever saw that movie. I think it was like with Beyonce and like other people. It was about that time period, like the records with like all of the like I think it was the Capitol Records movie or whatever. But it was excellent.
Not the one with Eddie. Not with Eddie.
No.
Murphy?
She played Etta James, I think, in it. Do you know which one I'm talking about? It was let me see. It was
Cadillac Records.
Yeah, Cadillac Records.
It's like supposed to be Chess Records or whatever.
Yeah, supposed to be Chess Records. Did I say what was I saying? I was saying Capital. I meant Chess. Sorry. But so there were all sorts of influences that when I got into like the Muddy Water stuff and then dipped into all of that catalog too of like the Etta James and all that, and like little Milton and like Little Richard and I don't know. So like I always really like, I don't know, that one is like always like nice to like see that in the set list. And then I and it makes me think of my trips like with my family to New Orleans. So it's got like a personal like thing too, because all the voodoo, like all the little references to like witch doctoring and voodoo and hoodoo and all that. That stuff is so fascinating to me too. And so it's always really important to see that for me. And then we have Fall In, All the Love, Let Me Get By. Again, not to speed over those, but I love seeing All the Love in the set. That one doesn't come out all that much. We get Fall In and Let Me Get By a lot, but All the Love is kind of like, whoa, that's a nice pull.
It's almost like too intense to play every night. It's too psychedelic.
Oh, yeah.
It's like this. It's almost like the same. Obviously, Passaquan, but even Circles. Like it's almost like a similar sort of not vibe, but like I guess a little bit of the psychedelic thing. But yeah, that's a cool one. they always kind of know too all the loves the way they kind of jam out are the same, I imagine.
Yeah, and it was really nice to see them, do this after having seen them do it or heard them do it a long time ago when the album first released, to how they're playing it now. Again, it's like we were saying before, where it's like even in the same year or the span of like 2-3 years, they can change that sound. Gravity sounds different now than it did, even at the recording from Red Rocks, right? So like, Let Me Get By is a tune they've played a lot, since its release in 2016, and even now they're like pulling out all these, like Gabe is pulling out these crazy stops on the organ, and pulling out these like wild little like trills and things, and it's awesome to see all of that. And then we basically get to the set break there. So I want to maybe do we want to get to Tracey?
I was just I see her in the chat saying she's gonna her laptop's gonna die, so we can talk.
I'm trying to figure out if I can swap to my phone or what I need to do. So I just wanted to let everyone know if I disappear.
It's all good.
I'm not just jetting out of here.
Yeah, you can use your phone or do whatever you got to do, or we could jump around, and you were at the
Wang 4
the last night.
Yeah.
I was at Wang Friday night.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, not Saturday night.
Not 5, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I meant the 4th night. I'm counting them as like
4.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking about October 4.
Yeah. Oh, I could see.
Okay.
I can see how that's confusing.
Yeah. So you were there for the October 4 show, right?
Yeah, we can do that and then go back to
we can. Let's do that
if need be. It's all good.
Sweet.
I mean,
we're
it's all about
talking about some of the same things, I'm sure. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
How Tedeschi Trucks band is, they're pretty good band. I think they're
pretty good band.
They're pretty good. Might as well look at the posters for those.
Those were.
By the way, I gotta get a notebook too, because I did not do a good job. I'm like not like upset with myself, but I didn't do a good job with keeping record of my like little written set list that I like to keep during the show.
Yeah, you fucked up. No,
I know, man. I know. I did. I didn't know we could cuss on this show. I fucked up real bad because the thing is, I had my phone out for the MGM, and I had the Mixlr going because I was on like this stream from this person, Mama Don't Dance, who's like, they go to a bunch of different concerts and they allow people to sign into their thing, and you get an audience stream for all these different shows. And so I was streaming, and throughout the whole thing I was like, I can't hold this phone and concentrate on I was like almost like taken out of it. That's why I don't have too much to say, because I was kind of taken out of the experience that I have so much more to say about the October 5th show, because there's
so much to like do. Like you want to watch everyone. You want to hear every sound. You want to take in the fans. You want to take in the venue. You want to remember everything. You want to write down notes. You want to record some video. Usually you want to record some audio video. You want to yell at other people for doing these things when you're not doing them. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. But like, but when I even as minimal as just holding the phone and like looking like to see if the level's good, I was like completely taken out of it. And I was like, I never want to do this again, where like I don't want to. And I never used to have my phone on me, right, when I was at concerts when I was a kid, and then now we have these things in our pockets all the time, but for the longest time I was like, I don't want to take it out during the show. And then for some reason I was like, maybe I want to stream it. I don't know. For me, it's like I can't do two things I can't walk and chew gum for this.
When you got to do it, because these shows were recorded. It's a big Susan hometown region show. But when they're doing a show in Oklahoma on Wednesday night and you don't see a ton of phones out, that's when you should take it upon yourself to record for all of us when they're not doing the beacon, and you have have everyone, recording, and you're
Yeah.
going to get an audio or
Yeah,
something. Do it
exactly.
when it's needed more.
Exactly. And that's one of the great things about this band and this team as well. And then I do want to let Tracey talk about the fourth, but is that they're one of the only teams that I know of that still consistently like are full support of audience recordings of like taper sections and allowing people to record and upload everything, and them not coming after them for that with like you have to take this down because we don't have the rights for this, we don't have the rights for that. As long as it doesn't come from the band, like they're very chill with that, and I really commend them for that, for encouraging that and being happy with the fact that there are people who want to record their shows and share them with people. It's a great way for them to share this music with new people, people who were at the show, people who want to relive the show, in a way that they can without necessarily having to, have the band, pay these crazy amounts of legal fees to try to get these songs to play, because they have to get permissions every time they want to get a Dylan song, or they want to get a Beatles song, or they want to get a Clapton song. They have to get permission from the label. So that's why you don't see a lot of them. That's why on a lot of these best ofs, we get mostly original songs, and maybe once or twice we get something, because it's very hard to get the rights to release all that. And they're very particular where they don't want to release up half of a show because they have to pull out 5 or 6 songs, right? So maybe there's something that can come out of this Deuces Wild tour where they can pull a collection album where they were able to get the rights for one song here, one song there, one song here, one song, and we'll get something. But we can't get everything because it's going to be, it's going to be a legal battle for that. You have to understand. It's also yes, it's the music. Yes, we love this band. We love hearing these things, but it's also a business, right? So it's something that you have to take into account of, like, we would love everything, but we can't. So the fact that we have our tapers and we get to hear all of that in those markets, like you said, where there's not so much video for Boston, so much video for New York, so much video, it is nice to get those kind of like, oh, it would be nice to hear a show in the middle of somewhere where I don't frequent, where other people are, and where we may not necessarily get too much video from because people don't have the phones out and stuff. So it's nice to see that too. So for the other night, I was able to like focus in, and it was wait.
You were there on the 4th or the 5th, Tracey? Did you say?
Oh, the 4th, Friday night.
All right, I got that one here. I got that set list here.
Yep.
We got Don't Let Me Slide, Do I Look Worried, Until You Remember, Gravity, Statesboro, DMSR, Circles Around the Sun, Passaquan, Mountain Jam, Passaquan, Back Into It, Set 2, Mr. Charlie, I'm Gonna Be There, Presence of the Lord, Keep On Growing, I'm the Moon, Leaving Trunk, Swamp Braga, Into Midnight in Harlem, I Pity the Fool, and then Show Me, Encore. This is up on archive too. So thank you to the tapers for that. But to even comment on the tapers for a second, it's like, not only is the band cool with like people recording the shows, I feel like there's like a connection between the band, the crew. Like I feel like they know who they are, they appreciate it. And I know, like, what is it, like Jam Base and some of these like, reputable concert tracking sites.
Oh yeah.
Share fan videos and even fan audio. I'm sure sometimes if that's all they got.
Oh yeah,
like,
all the archive stuff. Like the archive links get shared. So every time I think like Relics or Jambase, they share a set list from Tedeschi Trucks when it goes. They also put a link if it's possible. They put a link to the archive to the taper. I've seen that. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Cool. Yeah, this is a super cool set list, and this is on archive. So I was checking out the DMSR and Statesboro and Gravity and the Passaquan and some of this stuff. But Tracey, why don't you tell me about the show, the fans, the vibe, whatever?
Oh man, there was so many highlights. So many highlights. I couldn't dance, so I was sad. But then I can focus a little better. So I guess that was good. It was great to get 2 theater shows after seeing 3 outdoor amphitheater shows. I like the theater indoor vibe much better. I do love this summer outdoor show, but as far as like really feeling the music, it's definitely the theater vibe for me. But I do like to dance. So anyhow, DMSR, crazy vibe. I'm loving that. I'm finally glad I got to hear that. I've heard 1999 a few times. As you guys know, I've said on here, I absolutely love that. this was, again, just, it's like a party on stage. They're having so much fun. The interaction between all of them, watching Derek and Sue, totally digging Mike's vocals on it, and Mike's just having a great time, and everyone in the room is having a great time, and it's just a great rock and roll Prince vibe.
Yeah, that's what they turn it into. They turn it into a rock and roll song more than I guess a straight funk kind of thing, which I guess the original was when I was checking that out.
Really great.
Yeah, my girlfriend's family, when I told them that they were covering Prince, they were like, "What? Like, what do you mean they're doing 1990? What do you mean they're doing DSM? What do you mean?" And I was like, "No, they're like reimagining them as like blues songs. They're like kind of like, you know, restructuring the land." And they were like, "Huh, okay." You know, and it's extremely, again, it's like one of those things about this band where it's like they take a song and they make it their own in their own style with their own signature, their own. It's almost like a sound signature, like a sound print. It's almost like you can like say like, okay, like take baseline song and then you can stamp Tedeschi Trucks on it and you know what it sounds like. You'll hear the horns, you'll hear Gabe, you'll hear a bass, you'll hear like the vocal singers, you'll hear two drums, because a two drum sound is a very unique sound. You don't get like the double bass, and you don't get the double snare, the double, all these different things. It's a signature sound. That's like something that they are able to capture and then make their own on all these great songs. It's phenomenal.
I'm curious.
Presence of the Lord. Speaking of the double drums. Oh my! Just what an if you haven't listened to that or watched that, absolutely do that.
That's a great one, especially that was a
highlight of the night for sure.
That was for sure the highlight of that.
Yeah, I gotta dig into more stuff as soon as we're done here. I'm curious about what the like Prince like fan, the hardcore Prince fan community like thinks about these covers, because like they might like really respect them, because obviously TTB is awesome and this and that, and people who know music, I'm sure, would appreciate TTB. But there might be a few hardcore Prince fans that are like purists.
I'm curious.
Like, this doesn't sound anything like 1999, and you know, I don't know. So I could see it going in both directions.
Yeah, maybe you should after this Deuce is Wild, bring back the Prince guy that you had on, the guy from the same
from
state
Minnesota. Yeah, there's another guy, I think Jared Michael Delaney from Pennsylvania. I haven't been on a long time. I think he had a Prince podcast or did some stuff with covered Prince. Yeah, they're out. Yeah, I'm curious what the hardcore.
But yeah, I mean, I would want to hear what that guy has to say and bring on some of his friends and have,
that guy's gonna love it. I'm sure.
You know what I mean?
He loves TTB. You know.
Yeah. Oh no, I meant have him bring on some of his friends and have you guys like play him the audio and have him do like a review or something of what they think.
Well, people like those what do you call them, reaction
reaction
videos,
because I'm curious. I would like to hear what like actual you know, like same people who do what we do for TTB, but I would like to hear like what Prince people think of their covers of that. And like I would like to see like a, not like a reaction video, because I mean like that could be like a short thing, but I mean like an actual like full in-depth discussion of like this reinterpretation of this song and the other one, DMSR. Like I'm curious to know what they think.
Yeah, Brandy here says I was with a monster Prince fan at Beacon in Brooklyn, and he loves 1999. Ian.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah,
that's great. No, see, awesome. Like that's what I mean. Like if you so a monster Prince fan likes their cover of 1999, that means they hit it out of the park, which they always do. So it's, you know, it's like like makes sense. Obviously,
I think mostly the Prince fans and the hardcore Prince fans will love it and appreciate it, just because it's like they're doing the song, like, you know, they're keeping the legacy alive more than anything. Isn't it better to some degree to attempt it, you know, in good faith than to not try it at all?
Yeah, same with Charlie, right? I mean, that too, that's keeping the legacy of the dead alive too.
Yeah,
like it's you know, another one. And then Keep on Growing, Derek and the Dominoes. I mean, they're literally playing all these tunes that they're playing are like, you know, songs from the catalog and the catch line. It's like before I was born, you know what I mean? So like, and
Yeah.
the fact that I still know him is because of this band, is not because, like I would have found it on my own. Like my dad introduced me to it through, his own record collection, but also through this band. And that was an unbelievable thing because it exposed me to a huge catalog of music that I like. Without this band, and without my dad, I don't think I would have found the Mad Dogs and Englishmen. Right, I wouldn't have found the Layla stuff because
I found Derek basically because of my
like,
dad.
yeah. Like I wouldn't have, like, this is not something that like they pump to, kids my age on the radio. Like you have to be introduced to this music. Someone has to do that for you. In this, like with this, I don't know. It's like, yeah.
Yeah,
and
I think there's a lot to that for sure. Yeah, I like seeing I'm gonna be there in the set list. There's always something in almost every set list that I see that's almost like a surprise or something they don't play in a while or a new cover.
But what I was gonna say though is that now with the Eye on the Moon stuff, it seems like that now they are starting to really push into starting to make more people aware of their music, and in a way that's not feeling like it's like being pushed down people's throats. Like for example, the Anyhow, right, and the Chevy commercial, right, and Chevrolet. Yes, it's tongue in cheek that they did Anyhow Chevrolet, right, as like a Thai song. But it also is nice for the fan to be like, oh, I know what you're doing. I see what you're doing. But it's also then the person who came to the show because they liked the song because they heard it in a commercial. They're like, oh, hey, that's the thing that brought me here. I like that. I think they're trying to not commercialize where they're trying to be like the cookie cutter commercial, but they're trying to keep true to themselves, like with their identity, but also try to grow their following in a way that's organic. And I really like that about them. I don't think they're trying to force themselves on people.
No, I think they're just trying to get their music out there more. It's almost like, I don't even know if people, I mean, did people really come to a concert because they heard a song on a commercial? But maybe what they did is hear the song on the commercial, and in their brain, it was the second time they were hearing it live. And then it sticks that much more, and you're like, you just feel that much more connected every time it's another way for the music to grow on you, whether through the television or through a live show. It all counts towards a growing fan who might continue to support.
Oh yeah, I mean, there was a kid who was like 13 years old at the show on the 5th with his dad, and Derek connected with him with like his eyes. I could see like they made a connection, and he was like thrilled that there was a kid there just having a blast, having the time of his life. I brought the kid up, and I was like, he was up on the front of the rail, and like you could just tell that like the rest of the band was like, yes, like the legacy is still going, it's being passed on, the next generation is getting this music. That's like, it just keeps the wheel going.
I've seen and heard seen in person and heard too many stories about Derek specifically, like, doing exactly what you're saying, being excited about seeing a young guitar player. And I'm talking like a kid. And a lot of the slides do go to people who kids who deeply appreciate it. And it probably changes like a lot of lives, and not necessarily in a sense that like every kid is going to become a professional musician, but what they might do is play guitar for the rest of their lives. And that is such an important thing. Yeah, for sure. And that's such an important and thing for sure. Just like, just music. It's so powerful in the way it like just makes people better students, better people. Like speaking broadly, of course, I saw this document, I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent, but I saw this documentary not too long ago, The Last Repair Shop. It's on YouTube. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's about this repair shop in LA for the school district. And it's about this guy from Armenia, and he escaped the war and had a lot of tragedy in his backstory, but he repairs instruments. And it tells the story about these kids who live all over LA, and some of them have personal family issues and whatever, and they're straight up saying, I don't know where I would be without music. And to give like someone that gift, it's the same. It's like, it's just as powerful in a lot of ways as whether it's you're getting this instrument to play yourself, or you're like meeting Derek for the first time. These are could be life-changing things just to give someone a gift that they'll have the rest of their life. I just think of it's like it's something fun that's like I'm pointing at my guitar, but it's something that's fun that's actually free. So many things I feel like cost money. And I'm not even saying that's a bad thing. Like if we want to go out to a nice dinner or go to the movies or go to a sporting event or even go to a concert yourself, like all these like entertainment, like so much of entertainment costs money. And obviously guitar costs money, but once you have it, once you're playing it, it's like, you don't have to keep putting quarters in the meter to continue to work on the pentatonic scale or whatever.
Yeah, and that's the thing too is it's not even about the doing all that, because the money that you have, right, to go and try to make yourself happy with these experiences, like doing these things, it's because there's something that you're trying to do to bring joy to yourself. And really the thing that brings me the joy with all of this is not what did I get from the show, what did I see, it's what did I hear, what did my brain get opened up to, what experience did my auditory senses go through, what did that make me feel, what did that make me think, how did I experience that, and then how do I take that into my next day of like, wow, this makes me feel like I want to be a better person. This makes me want to feel like I want to do something. Like if there's something I want to do, I want to go and do it. Right. So like, it made me feel like all of these like things of like, like being in that moment was like, this is what life is supposed to be. This is what joy is. Anything else outside of that is, secondary.
I think the band and their music, and I've mentioned this, I think they do, even incrementally, and maybe not for everyone, but I think broadly and at least slightly pushes and does make us like better people. And that's beyond like just because you can go to a concert and have a spiritual experience, a soulful experience, and even of course a cathartic experience is part of the TTB experience. All these things are part of the experience, but you're not necessarily a nicer, better person the next day. Not all of us are. We're imperfect, and you're gonna get rotten, bad apples with any community, big group of any group, community, group of people or whatever, big group. But I think there's something really special about this band, and I always ask you guys and other people about like, what about other fan groups? How are they different than ours? Is this something special, or am I just existing in this insulated whatever insular world where I'm like clueless about like what other fan bases are? But I think there are. I mean, I was on that State of America Black Crowes podcast recently, and that was cool. That was fun. And check that out, everyone, and follow them. But
you should. That's cool.
They were talking about people go pretty hard at each other in the message boards in the Black Crowes about which is your favorite lineup and which is this and this. And you get some of that in the TTB fan groups. There's always you're gonna get some drama online or whatever. But for the most part, and not to the consistent degree, it sounded like they were just giving an example of there's a lot of great Black Crowes fans, and then of course. But I think we have a special community, and that all credit goes to Derek and Susan, and stems from them.
Yeah, I know. Like the Fish community too. Like they can be kind of like very picky about which era is the best era, and if you started listening in era 3.0, then you're not a real Fish fan or something, or like whatever. Like
there's less of that here because everyone gets so crazy about the band as soon as you discover them, whether you discover them in 2018 or 2010 or Susan when she was a kid. We're all just become crazy at the time we become passionate fans.
Right, because getting introduced to TTB is not just being introduced to a band; it's being given the key that unlocks like this entire universe of this gigantic umbrella of music that I never would have been exposed to if they did not unlock the door. You know what I mean?
They have so many songs that they could choose from and play. I feel like a lot of us, the feeling we have is like, play the new stuff. You're not playing enough of the new stuff. Like who says that about even their favorite bands? It's like, most people I think go to a concert, maybe not everyone, but like will be like, I'll play the hits, play the classics, play my favorite songs, even play the obscure thing that I like. That's the old song from the album 15 years ago. But we're all like, when are you going to play more from I Am the Moon and somehow and None Above and all these songs.
No, yeah, there are some songs from I Am the Moon that I'm still trying to like knock off my checklist of having heard live, because so So Long Savior is one that kind of pops out not too frequently. It's like when Derek pulls out it's really only when they do like an acoustic set, right? Which we got recently at the Beacon. I don't know if that one was that one on the Beacon, the most recent tour, or was that a Preachin' Blues that I'm thinking of? But
they might have played So Long. I think the Preachin' came more recently.
Yeah, I mean, one that doesn't come out that was Rainy Day. Like, where's that? Let's get that out, right? Like, there's some things. Yeah, right. So it's like you're right. Like, it's like, yeah, I would love to hear some of these new tunes too. But then again, when we get like a deep cut, like from the bag, right, of something that we have, Wawa. I know we haven't. I know we were going to talk about the fifth show, but opening up with Wawa is one of my favorite all-time TTB things, because it pulls me right back to like 2014 or whatever, 2013, Leader Bank Pavilion. Like, it was like summer, like everything was chill, like the band was like only like 3 years in, like they were just like killing it, tunes and all that, and we haven't seen that song in such a long time. I think they've only played it 4 times this year. So
it's like choosing an all-star team, these set lists. Like,
yeah,
you want to pick this person and that person, he's awesome and they're great and they have all the numbers and this is my favorite song and this and that. But like, okay, what are you taking off the list? That's what it comes down to. Should we continue?
Go ahead, Tracey.
The set. What do you got, Tracey?
Show Me. Have either of you seen that? I know Zach's seen it. Have you caught that yet live?
I haven't. I was going. I did see you sent it to me.
Yeah, it's just, again, spectacular energy with the band, and Mark up front. The energy that he brings to the crowd when he's up front.
With just 2 horns on that, right?
Yeah, but and it's like this whole Derek, Kebby, Elizabeth thing that goes on that's pretty magical. That was what I was like, make sure you watch this.
I like I love when they do that.
Wow.
I'm sure they probably did it this way with like Kebby has his own style when he's doing his part with Derek, and then Elizabeth has her like more bluesy style versus his more out there style. And the drums kind of do a different part, like when Kebby's doing his thing.
Yeah.
And I could picture like the spotlight on him and going back and forth. It's just like a party.
It's almost like watching. It's almost like watching ping pong or like tennis, and like just going back and forth and like watching like the different parts of the stage.
Yep. And watching them, navigate and transition, like we were talking about earlier, as 2 horns, and playing these songs. I'd seen this. I think it was Saratoga. And it was fantastic, but this time was a little bit different. It was great. A great way to end the show.
Oh,
you left there definitely wanting more, for sure. And they have so much fun watching the interaction between each of them and the amount of smiling on stage between all of them.
Yeah. And also Show Me, we were talking about Black Crowes, right? I mean, so it's on there on the set list because I don't know if I put it on there or someone else put it on there, but it's on there because as the Black Crowes version, because this song started to appear in the rotation when they were doing that summer tour with London Souls and Black Crowes, and there's and it was like it was a thing that Chris Robinson would come out and do this with Susan, and they would just like go back and forth, the two of them. 2013, yeah. Oh, it was.
This just came up on the podcast a little bit, of course.
Oh yeah, it was killer, and like so seeing this come back too, and I think so. There's someone in the chat that said that it's not just being played in the encore slot too. Like that's also nice too. Like songs are being like swapped around and being put in new spots too, which is like, I love that. Again, it like throws a wrench. It's like, whoa.
Anything could be an encore. Anything could be an encore because they're awesome. But to go back to even like to speaking to the people Derek and Susan are and the Black Crowes thing, this I guess that tour was like towards the Black Crowes like end of their, when they were before obviously they got back together, but when they were breaking up, and being on tour with Derek and Susan, the guys on the podcast were speculating that that was a big reason they kind of kept things together at that point when things weren't great, and they were able to finish the tour and probably not totally destroy each other, the
Right.
Chris and Rich, and were able to eventually like get back together. Not that we were giving credit to TTB for, you know, eventually
I mean, they brought Jackie Green out a lot to play with them on that tour, because Jackie Green was playing with the Crows at the time as the guitar
right. I remember
musician.
there's a lot of videos of this out there.
Yes, and it was so cool. It was like they were like integrating the whole thing, and actually TTB was in the middle of that show, so it was the Souls, then Tedeschi Trucks, and the Crows were headlining. So like it was like at the end of the show, like they would come back out, they'd do Show Me. It was like it was fantastic. It was like, you know, the energy in the room there, like, well, I can't say room because it was a tent, but like the energy at Leaderbank was like through the roof, and you could tell that Chris Robinson was like having a blast playing with Susan and Derek. Like they were having a ball. And so like when they're doing this now with the Show Me and the energy, it's still there with like the vibe between, you can see like the band leading in Derek, where he goes to and highlights every single member of that band. It's like it's a fun thing for them to do that.
They're a great pairing, Tedeschi Trucks Band and the Black Crows. And I don't know if I can think of like two bands that I would want to see together more than those two. I think, you know, super cool stuff. What else about this show? We'll get on to the next the next
presence of the Lord. Derek and the drums. That was the highlight in that for me.
Yep.
Definitely recommend listening and or watching that. I think there's some YouTubes out there already on that.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to think what else. I'm going through the set list.
Midnight, I'm sure, is always a moment.
Midnight's always a moment, no matter where. Yeah, that's always great. Keep on Growing. Elizabeth was really great in that.
Yeah. I tried to go back and listen. Oh, sorry.
Is always fun. I Pity the Fool's always fun with Susan, of course, in Boston. Super high energy.
She raised that leg up, I'm sure. And
of course.
You had a leg raise on that.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Belting vocal or guitar or in between them.
Yeah.
Yep.
I tried to go back and I tried to go back and listen to Swamp Raga because I can't figure out if Little Martha was teased or not. I feel like he like hinted at it, but like didn't actually like complete the.
He teased a tease.
Yeah, it was a tease of it. That's what I mean. It was a tease of a tease because it wasn't even like really Little Martha, but it was like in the style of Little Martha. So I can't call it a tease.
I think sometimes that the hands go in certain directions and without even like necessarily planning it. He like, you know, I don't know. I think there's something to that. A lot of these riffs are, you know, things that are similar keys and similar rhythms, and I think some of these teases maybe just come out, but maybe not.
No, yeah, they just kind of like spills out when you have like this whole set of Rolodex of little licks and things that you've practiced over the many years of just like, let me just throw that in there in the mix, and then it just comes out.
Here's
but sorry, Tracey, you were gonna say something about a different song about Keep On Growing. About Keep On Growing.
I know, I can't remember.
I can go back to.
Sorry, I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Leaving Strong, Swamp Raga.
Oh, Mr. Charlie with Adrian, Susan's guitar teacher. That was.
I listened to that. That was cool.
Awesome.
That's right. That was her old
old
bandmate, right?
Adrian Hayes.
Yeah, from Susan Tedeschi band.
And I think she was her guitar teacher.
And guitar teacher. Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That was
great.
Killer. That was a great way to open up a set too. That was that was awesome. That was awesome.
Passaquan, we can't forget about Passaquan, Mountain Jam, Passaquan, spiritual experience for sure.
Yeah.
Re-listen to that, Circles Around the Sun, and all that tonight just before I came on again. Just I'll take that every night. Thank you.
What band is doing anything like this? Who's doing any songs like I can't think of anything that's comparable to this that exists. And like that guy Ulf from Australia say, it's like the culmination of all the music that he's loved in his entire life. Even thinking back to all the blues influences that the early, American Black blues artist that Zach was referring to. Like
Yeah.
you're getting all of these elements with
Yeah.
TT in
By
one
the way,
band
look
in
at
one show, even in one night.
look at this set list. Like, look at this. Scroll up a second
Yeah.
because you've got Gravity, Statesboro. Yeah, okay. You've got Gravity, Statesboro Blues, Passaquan with a mountain jam in there. Charlie. If you keep going, like, I mean, like, I'm listing a Presence of the Lord, Keep on Growing. Like, I'm listing like unbelievable pulls, like Leaving Trunk. This set list. Oh, and then at Midnight, obviously, like this set list is like loaded. It's almost like an overloaded like a BLT sandwich if they put lobster meat on there. Like this is like an overloaded sandwich with like unbelievable ingredients. This is a crazy set list. Like
Yeah.
seriously.
There are 9 originals. It seems like it's a lot of covers, but I just counted. There are still 9 original songs, which is not
Yeah.
0. But do you think a lot of the cover? I mean, they love playing the covers and they want to pay respect to them. But you think it's a lot something to do with like trying to get more like mass appeal or whatever it is, like playing songs that people might. It's not any of that.
I think it's because they genuinely love respecting these artists who've influenced them and who they genuinely want to expose people to this music because it's so impactful and so soulful. I think it's like a paying homage.
Yeah, I guess that must be what it is because like they could and a lot of people think they should play more of their originals and like I was saying, more of the I Am the Moon stuff. And I don't think anyone would complain. Maybe some people would say, "Oh, they didn't play any Allman Brothers." I was surprised by that.
But it's funny because years ago, when they were having a lot of their own original material, people were like, "Oh, they should do more covers. They should do they do this so much better."
Everyone's gonna have an opinion.
You know what I'm saying? No, but you know what I'm saying? It was like, "Oh, he does Allman Brothers so much better. I don't know why they don't do more Allman Brothers. Like their original stuff is it's okay. Like they should do more covers." Personally, I loved their original stuff. I always did. But there were people who were like, "Oh, I don't like their original stuff right now. I think they should do these covers. They should do this, that." It's like, dude, they're gonna do what they want and what makes them happy.
I'm
and they're
sure
gonna
they
do,
have these debates amongst themselves, and Derek probably debates himself.
I'm sure,
and is conflicted at times between doing X, Y, or Z or whatever.
Oh, I'm sure.
There's just too many amazing choices to choose from. But no matter what they pick, like we win.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else about this one here before we go on to the final line? I know it's getting later on the.
I think we hit all the highlights. Yeah, I have to jet soon. I got to get up super early tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
I appreciate it. You hanging
I
out.
gotta fail, but definitely check out those recordings for sure. And I'd also like to thank the people that taped, so I'm able to enjoy that for time to come. So it's always really good, and it's always fun to chat with you guys.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for hanging out. You're awesome.
All right, thanks. You guys are too. This was fun.
You got it.
And by the way, Tracey and I did Kofi, and that was phenomenal. And I just had a great time doing that, and always looking forward to doing that and seeing you again.
Let me see if I. Oh, I'm sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah, and it was great. Yeah. We all reunited at the show this weekend, and we all forgot to take a picture. And then everybody messaged me, "I can't believe we forgot to take a picture." But
I know
all of us that worked the Kofi Day of Service together were at the show the other night, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I should have totally coordinated that as the group leader coordinator. That's on me. I should have messaged everybody.
We all forgot. We all spaced, and we all mentioned it, and we just didn't do it.
You got one, but you got one at the
event. Yeah, we got both of our crews took a photo. So our morning crew and our evening crew. We got some nice photos.
Yeah, that was a great day.
Yeah, this came in through the email.
Yeah, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, all the hour. Where'd it go?
All the statistics.
740 hours of service donated, 20 cities, 290 volunteers, 5,100 pounds of dry food sorted, 1,760 pounds of debris cleared from rivers and trails, and 280 boxes packed with food for families. I think that's what I did. 100 pounds of canned goods donated by patrons, 228 pounds of vegetables harvested, 800 pounds of vegetables chopped and prepared. That was not me. 3,394 pounds of food packed into boxes for seniors, almost 8,000 meals provided.
Wow. That's fantastic. That's just, honestly,
Renee's
Kofi,
incredible also. Renee
like
Pfeffer
the
also.
Absolutely.
Renee, that's what I was gonna say is the Kofi Day of Service would not be possible without Renee and the hard work that she puts into it. And I know that she, taking on now the 20 cities, it was amazing to be able to get all of these, new cities to be able to participate and help out. And basically we expanded Kofi's, memory into a whole new set of states, and I hope we continue to do more because there are people who are reaching out who are like, hey, we didn't have this thing, but I want to do it for our state. It's phenomenal. I know there was like a food drive or a food bank or something that people were setting up for one of these, I think for like the remote show or something, right? Like that's beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a friend of
no,
mine trying to start it in Syracuse for next year.
Yeah, that's
So I know
that's
that's
great.
in the works. Yeah.
Yeah, and I plan to go back to the food bank that I was at over the weekend. And if anyone wants to feel free to hit me up if anyone wants to like volunteer to go back to the food bank or volunteer somewhere else. I'm always down to that. I can be guilted definitely into volunteering. And no, it's super fun. And it's like now that like I connected with, a couple of people at these food banks, it's very easy to set up and to go for a couple of hours is you get a lot done.
Oh yeah, and I can't remember who was saying it to me. I think we were too efficient. I think
we were too efficient for them. We got it the first shift. We got things done way too fast, and then we were like, "All right, what can we do now?" And the chef, she was like, I just need 1 second to finish this to figure out what else we could do.
Doing
and
great.
And then we had cleaned up, and she was shocked at how fast we had all cleaned up and got everything put away. And it was a great experience. It was a great day. So I was honored to be a part of that, and I'm looking forward to doing it again.
For sure.
So, all right, guys, thanks so much. Have a great night.
Your laptop survived, so we got the laptop.
We got it. Cheers.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye.
I think she switched to her phone halfway through.
Oh, perfect.
So that helped. I'll pull up night. You were at the final night, October 5th, right?
Yeah, this was a great show. Also, someone in the comments saying big shout out to Renee. Long Island was an awesome group. Yeah.
There he is. Yeah,
there
he did.
Go.
Oh, thank you, Randy, as well for being an awesome supporter of the podcast and also for organizing the Long Island chapter of Kofi Burber's Day of Service.
Yeah, awesome.
All 50 states next year.
Oh my God. Okay, I think the three of us
kill me.
She's gonna kill us, yeah, because the two of us would have to join to help her to put it together.
Yeah, I'm giving myself.
You want to give me some homework?
Yeah, more to do here.
You know what? I'll do it. Honestly, I'll commit. I don't care. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll read the set here. Wah anyhow, here, my dear, ain't that something? Must have done somebody wrong. I feel so bad. Wrong. Take me as I am. The letter, Idle Wind, Maki Madni in there, and then finishing.
Oh, I don't want to breeze over that. That was exciting, dude. Getting a Maki Madni is always a freaking kill. I love that.
Nice set 2, preaching blues. La-di-da, part of me crying over you. I want more. Soul Sacrifice with I Want More. Don't think twice. Had to cry today. Dreams, Made Up Mind. I Can't Make You Love Me. The Storm and Whipping Post.
So
those last 3.
Almost like an Orpheum show, honestly, because what the vibe of an Orpheum show was there. The crowd, like the sauciness of the crowd, was there, but it was a completely. So I wanted to get into this about the Wang. It's basically like take the vibe of the Orpheum and then put a nice fresh coat of paint on it, get rid of the rats, get rid of the rat poop, get rid of the mold, and create an unbelievable amount of music in a great space with what is essentially like an opera house almost. It looks like. I think it was like a hotel first, and then while it was being built, and then it got converted to like a movie theater hall and like to a music space. And honestly, like you can see it. There's like the ornate detail in this building is beautiful, and it helps with the vibe because the energy in this room was very much like an Orpheum show, but almost to a degree where like there was more of us in the space, because it's a bigger room than the Orpheum. It's almost like if you were to take a photo and just like scale it up, like you would like pull it big, because you had if you pull back up the set list again, sorry.
No, you're good.
So this set list here has at the very bottom that traditional feel of the Orpheum show of Dreams, The Storm, and Whipping Post. You always get that combo on the last night of the Orpheum, the Boston run.
Why is that?
When it was in December. Why? I don't think I know. I'm sure you do you know? But there's there's this historical thing of like they would always like just kind of historically play Dreams, Storm, and Whipping Post as like the closeout of the tour, closeout of the show, because the tour used to end in Boston in December, and that was like she'd come home for the end of the year, and that was it. So they were kind of like giving the big hurrah, right? So there were some of us who were in the crowd who were talking to each other, and I had some people talking to me. They were like, "We don't know. Do you think they're going to do the Dreams, Storm, Whipping Post combo that they usually do, or is that something that's reserved for an Orpheum show?" And I was like, I think this is the new Orpheum show, because Bobby had mentioned something where it was like, it's not a test, but it's a test where, it's like if they like playing these venues, they'll want to continue to play these two venues because it's a place that she's wanted to play. She's wanted to play. She wanted to play Wang. She wanted to play MGM when that venue was built, and I think they wanted to get out of Orpheum because, like I said,
you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, exactly. Like you don't want to be, walking into the empty theater when you have to do load-in, and then a giant rat, runs across the freaking aisle, and you're like, great. So I got to freaking load in with all this rat poop everywhere.
Smack it with the the SG.
Yeah. Huh?
Smack the rat with the.
Oh yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then speaking of the SG, I didn't get into this yet because I didn't know how to segue and bring it up. But the story of these guitars is pretty crazy. People were coming up to me at the show, all 3 nights, where they were like, they wanted to know how I got it done. So there's the one. So there's the Susan. So I got the Derek one too. I don't know if I grabbed that one. If you grabbed that one, but so both of these signatures here are Susan's signature on Susan's signature telly that was just released this year, and the Derek one is on the Derek signature model SG that was released in 2013. The first run was 2012, but the one that I have is 2013. And there it is. Yeah, so you can see it there. So of course they are awesome because they put the signatures in a spot where if I still want to go and play, I'm not going to rub the signature. So it's killer. Yeah, so it's awesome because they know they have a bunch of signatures on their own guitars as well. Derek's guitar, the 2000, I think it was like 2001. I think they retired that guitar, or 2003 or something. It was retired around the time that Derek got his Dickie Betts model guitar, the one that he plays on now, like 2011 or so. But the one that has Derek's a whole bunch of these signatures on them, it's on this model guitar that was released in 2013. And so these two guitars are extremely special, especially to me, because I had been, for the longest time, I'd been a kid following this band, and I didn't have any disposable income. I didn't have a job. I was a child. I basically had, what unbelievable things my parents were able to give for me, such as like these concert experiences and all these other amazing things. But I couldn't go out and be like, I want this guitar, because I want it. No. So I had been dreaming of owning this guitar for a long time, with the goal of like, eventually like, oh, maybe just one day it's a dream, but maybe one day I'll be able to bring in, his model guitar to him and have him sign it for me at the end of his show. Right. It was like a dream. I was like, oh, it's never going to happen. It's like an unachievable thing. But then I had a whole thing this year where I was like, I want to have things that happen in my life, and I want to make them happen, because the only thing with the way that things will happen in my life is if I actually go out and do it. Right. So I was like, I'm going to go. I have a disposable income. I have the ability to do this. I want to do this. It's something I've wanted to do. It's a financially safe thing to do because it's not a stupid thing for me to do. I wouldn't do it if it didn't make sense, right? But I was like, I want to go and get these things. I have the ability to do this. Thank God I'm blessed to be able to do it. And I got the guitars, and then I had the goal of like, okay, I know the October shows are coming, so I have to figure out how to do this. So I was basically, I went to the show with my guitars. I put them in my car, and I had basically kind of figured out where in the venue the like the truck load-in area was. And I was like, let me just look for, Murph, let me look for anybody. And I found the guy who drives their truck, who drives their whole rig and everything. Really nice guy, by the way. If you haven't met him, he's a trip. He's really fantastic. But he and I were talking, and Murph came out, and I went to my car, I grabbed the guitars, and I showed them to Murph, and I was like, Murph, you got to see these things, man. These are fantastic. And I showed them to Murph, the two guitars, and he picked up Susan's, and he was like, wow, this is the first one I've seen out in the wild, and this thing feels exactly like Susan's. Like it's 1-to-1. It feels, in terms of weight, neck, like everything, and playability, everything. He said it feels exactly like Sue's. And the thing about it is that the company, they sent her, an artist proof, and the neck didn't feel right. They sent her, I think, like artist number 2 or something or whatever. And the neck number 1. And the neck didn't feel right. So they asked for it, to be adjusted and sent it back. The second one that they sent them was number 9. So they don't know what happened between number 2 and number 8, but she now has the number 1, and they gave it back, and she has the number 9. And my number in the run, he noted that was number 338. So, pretty early in the run.
Sure.
But what's neat about it is, he said that the setup feels exactly like it. It plays like it. And that, she usually uses that guitar for like alternate. There's a certain telly that she uses for a bunch of alternate tunings, but this one specifically she'll leave in the open, like in the open tuning, mostly. So it's like it's a versatile guitar for her to have. So it's basically almost like if he needs like a backup, right? So Derek has his backup too, where he has the Dickie Betts model, and then he has a backup of that model from the same run, just a different number. But again, because he wanted that same feel, right? So it's like the feel of that instrument is like the most important thing. So I was able to, basically talk to him about this guitar, and he was like, this thing feels perfect. It feels exactly like that. And I was like, well, I was wondering, is it possible if you could bring him back, for them to sign him at the end of the show? If like I can't bring him into the venue, and I sure as heck, don't want to leave him out on the street. Is there something, he was like, yeah. So he brought him back, and he's and again, Murph and the crew and TTB, like they're some of the nicest people. And he could have said no.
Susan's guitar tech, right?
Yeah, Susan's guitar tech. He could have said no, and I would have been totally understand. I would have been like, okay, yeah, no problem, of course, and would have gone on with my day and had a great show and whatever. But he, was like, absolutely, let me see what I can do. And he brought him back, and I wasn't the only person that had this. Another guy, Art Carpenter, had a tortoise shell guitar pick guard, right? A pick guard that he put a silver Sharpie in the bag, and it came back to him at the end of the show. Derek and Susan signed his pick guard for him. These are things that they don't need to do, they don't have to do, but they do because they understand, like, how important they are to us in terms of like, what their music brings to all these people, and how important they are to in terms of just like there are people who talk to me like all the time, who tell me like, like, oh, this one specific song made me feel this one very particular way on this very particular event and reminded me of this thing. And like, so it's such a deep integral part of everyone's lives that follow them, that they know that it's like, they're doing this not because it's like a I don't know. It doesn't seem to bother them in the way that this kind of thing can bother other celebrities or other personal like public figures. It's almost like they like it brings them joy to see us be like this excited about this kind of
Yeah,
thing.
the fact that you lugged 2 guitars there, it almost probably makes them it hard to say no to some degree. Like the effort that fans go through to show their excitement or want to connect with the band or whatever.
Yeah, but and so the guitars ended up in there, and they stayed backstage, and then from what I understand, they were open, and Derek and Susan signed them, and then they were brought back out. They closed them up, and they brought them back out to me, and I stayed after with them, waiting for them to walk out to just personally just thank them so much for that. Nice. And there were a couple of kids who came with me who were studying at Berkeley, and they wanted to meet Susan and Derek and everything, and they were all standing out there, and they were able to get it was an unbelievable experience to watch these Berkeley kids connect with like active like working musicians, because a couple of them they got some of the band members' numbers because they wanted to talk about a jam that was going to be going down, like with some of the Berkeley students, and I think they worked that out. One of the kids who was working Kofi Day of Service with us, Sam, he was able to get I think like Isaac's number and Falcon's number, and because it was like they were like, oh yeah, like we want to throw together like something. He was like, yeah, we can work something out between like one of our off days between Boston and Rhode Island.
You never know where TTB,
you never know
where the B of, especially the B of TTB, you never know where they're gonna show up, and in between gigs, after gigs, and that's cool that to try to make that happen for those students. Why not? Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't, but all you can do is try and put it out there, and it probably will happen.
Oh yeah, I really hope it does, because he seemed so excited about that, and it was just so cool to watch that too, because watching Susan talk to them about Berkeley and her time there too, like that was a lovely thing too, because again, they're not just talking to a musician, they're talking to an alumni too, so like who was in the same position. So it was really neat to watch that, and I felt really great for them. And then there was a kid, there was his dad, like I said, who, had the time of his freaking life. When we got him a slide. Derek made eye contact with him, and at the end of the show, I was like, "Hey, Derek, let's get the kid a slide." And Derek heard that. He turns around and he grabs the slide from the amp, walks it directly up to the kid, hands it to him. And I was like, "This has come full circle for me, because this is what happened to me when I was a kid. Someone brought me up and made this fantastic experience for me, and I was like, I want to there's nothing else that I need. I have everything that I need from this band to make me happy, other than the music every night when I go. And I wanted to be, I was like, what's the next thing I can do is make that experience for another kid, because
that's
it's
great.
Like, what I mean? That's what you got to do.
Cool. Yeah, that's super cool. And that's like how I feel. Like I love hearing the stories like about like the kid, the young guitar player getting the slide. It never gets old, because you just know how much it means to them, and it really could be and probably will be like literally a life-changing moment.
Oh, he's not going to forget that. Not only did he get the slide, he got Susan's guitar pick, he got Brandon's guitar pick, he got set 1 and set 2, the paper, and a crew member brought him 2 drumsticks. So this kid,
poker chips.
He did get the poker chip.
He got the complete set
because he did the VIP with his dad. His dad took him on the tour with the backstage, for the tour. So I mean, this kid is never going to forget this evening. I mean, this was one of the top highlights for me too, because I had a phenomenal time at this show, doing the backstage tour with Bobby, learning all this information. Which, by the way, if you haven't done it, you really, really should. It's like, you're going to learn so much more than you ever thought that you could or wanted to know about the production of TTB, and just how Bobby does. Like, I already knew this, but Bobby does way more than just sit down at a console and press a button. Okay. I mean, there is so much to the operation of running this band that it truly is like a Broadway show, or like a full like a morning news production. Like a production. It's a full show. It's got like PDs, it's got time. That's the thing, is they don't go on time code. They go, everything is live, so nothing runs to a time code. Nothing like is triggered events. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a live, like, breathing animal, and
Right.
it is amazing to watch him from his office do what he does and make. He makes the band sound the way that they can, because without Bobby's mix, right? Without those speakers being monitors on stage, they can't hear a single thing that the other one of them is doing. There's no way really for them to like fully hear. Sometimes you could be on the other end of the stage, you can't hear bass, you can't hear anything, you can't hear horns, you can't hear anything. And if you can't hear who you're playing with, you have no idea how to play the piece. So without getting that essential mix right in your ear and being able to say, oh, I need more bass, I need less bass, I need more drums, Bobby can go in there and tweak every little individual piece for each individual band member, 64 tracks all at once, going simultaneously to 12 different little earpieces. Well, 11 because Derek doesn't use one, 10 because Susan doesn't use one either now because it was giving her problems. 64 different individual mixes going to 10 different wireless headphones across the stage. And then you have all the different monitors specifically so that Derek and now Susan can hear a perfect, clear mix of the band, without needing a monitor, to be able to, like, when he walks over to Gabe, to be able to hear Gabe's keys so that he can, play with it. All of that needs to be perfectly, masterfully engineered and perfectly, masterfully, set up in a way that it takes a huge amount of expert levels of attention to detail. It is
to the point it's like when I'm standing outside of the show smoking and talking to him, like,
yeah,
you should not be talking to me right now. Shouldn't you be inside doing something and working on something and checking something?
And that's the thing, he's so good at what he does, like that he is able to go in there, like, do his precision setup, do his pink noise test, do his relays, make sure all of his shit is done, and then he can go and chill because he's so expert at what he does. You know what I mean?
He seems like he has the right demeanor for the position, and and it seems like I mean, I can't speak directly to it, but it seems like a calming influence in the band. Like his it'd be interesting to hear like the band members speak of like Bobby's like personality and how that like what that brings to the band, even beyond just like his technical abilities. I'm sure that plays a part too.
I mean, that's
like,
the thing too.
To be calm in the face of like, because he's talked about, even on the podcast with me, I asked him about like, what makes the production challenging or something like that. And it was all a lot of it depended on like who's new, who's the most experienced, how much help do I have on a given night, how much is already set up. Like there's a lot of factors that go into that, but can definitely be challenges and all kinds of situations to deal with. And he seems calm in the face of all that. Anything else you want to talk about or mention about any of these shows or anything? I know I've taken up a lot.
Oh, I mean, I was going to say he's got a whole team with him now too. It's not just him. I see there's like, I think like two people that sit next to him now, and he's completely given up, not given up, but like he's completely given back duties of guitar teching to someone who has that. Frank is phenomenal, by the way. He's done a ton of work with a ton of different bands, but I think if you look at his resume, like that is what he does. Like he is a gear like nerd, right? Like loves doing this stuff. Bobby picked up the guitar tech work because Derek needed a tech, but mainly he was there for like the sound mixing and doing all the stuff on the stage and getting that sound mix right for the musicians. But Derek needed a tech and so he kind of just picked it up on the side, and did that for years. But so now he's kind of back in sound world and he's got people working for him, and I think he's like got this, it's almost like the band's got this new like breath of fresh air with it, like, because if you look at it, the technology that they're using for mixing this band is way beyond anything that they realistically need. But in order to do the operation that they do, having it makes his job 1,000 times easier. Because, for example, he could have a full 64 track board, right, where he could individually mix every little thing, and then would have to have another board where he would he'd have to go into each person's little preset. For like, if you wanted to do specifically Alicia, he'd have to set her things, right? And then, for if she wanted more bass or less bass, set it. And then if he had to go to mix Susan, you'd click another button and then completely readjust the faders again. And then if you wanted to go back to Alicia, you couldn't, because the faders wouldn't save. So you'd have to reset those presets all over again, right? This computer system that he has allows him to just recall all sorts of different settings to like immediately get right back to Alicia's mix, or Brandon's individual mix, or Kebi's or whatever. And it's like, having this technology, it almost makes it like, even though it's like way above and beyond, like, because I know the band is very analog, it has the ability to have that preamp, like there's like actual tubes that like hot tubes that are running on this board of his, so that it has like an analog process before it gets to the board. So it still has that that like analog feel, that familiar sound, but everything is processed and digitized in a way where it makes the overall process for the band to sound more efficient, and it makes the overall process that much more like tight. Like they're able to do what they do because of him, and it's like it's a two-way street, and they have this thing on there, like a talkback, which is like this little microphone that's strategically placed all over the stage, so that in their monitors they can have full-on conversations with each other. During the show, we wonder how they do like audibles, how they do cues, how they do. Derek is walking over to this little mic and being like, "All right, let's do Dreams. I feel like doing Dreams," or like, okay, maybe like whatever, whatever. They'll talk about it in the mic, and you can hear it all across the stage just to them. And so they have this whole like they have really figured out how to allow the band to do what they need to do while also still performing for everybody that's out there. It's like it's a really awesome thing.
I think of like other things, like, because there's like teamwork involved. I think of like even like seeing them run around, the crew run around. I think of like a movie set or a TV set. Like it's a whole production. But even also like a football team in a huddle and calling in the plays through the radio and all this. I get all those kinds of vibes. What, anything else you want to talk about or cover or mention?
The fact that they don't play to a click track, I love that. That makes me really happy too. So most bands that have an in-ear monitor, what they'll get is a click track, which means, so for example, if the song is 120 beats per minute, it'll go right, like it'll click at that speed in everybody's ear, and you'll get that so that everybody can play on time. This band does not play to a click track. They don't play to a time code. They are organically breathing. They need the way that they play together is by hearing each other in their ears, right? And like Falcon has like his click, and like has his his sticks, and they have the beats that they play on the drums, and they hear each other's bass. Like Brandon's bass gets piped in a way to the seat so that they can feel these. I mean, there's things that this band is doing so that they don't have to play to a click, and that they get as close to as if you were playing in a room together, like in a small intimate space, while also being able to maximize and scale that out. It's one of the most amazing things that I've ever seen, because it's like they're not trying to like just go in and every night and just do the same freaking thing and be like, oh, we're just gonna play the click, just whatever. Sounds like the album. You could basically pull it off the shelf and it sounds the same. It's like, no, like everything that they do is extremely organic, and it's like it's obvious.
Someone was talking about when I was like obviously TTB's they're a tight band, and their timing is great. But a lot of younger people are almost used to like computer digital music that is like super duper precise. So when they hear a band like TTB that's not like a computer like metronome vibe, people are almost like not used to it or something.
Right. It's this whole thing of like, oh, so there's things that are slightly like maybe like a millisecond behind a beat, or like 2 milliseconds ahead of a beat, but that still makes music. Oh, that's amazing. You know, it's because you can feel the organicness in that when it's not so rudimentary. And I think that's one of my background is in physics and in acoustics, so I should be like thrilled and find it phenomenal about all the computer music and stuff. And while I do, it's an amazing achievement, right? It's like, it's very cool that the digitized music, you can do all of this down to like the precise like waveform, right, of what you want to do. But then again, it's like, it's not organic. It's not life. There's not like a human that has like done something to it where like yes, I can click a button and I can move a mouse and move a thing to like manipulate a wave, but I myself have not used my body in some way to create that sound organically.
It's
right?
not it's not the same.
It's not.
The machine can't replace a human yet in those ways.
Like until you can get a sound from a computer to replicate a guitar perfectly, and I mean actually like perfectly, as in like the inconsistencies of a waveform when you play an organic string down to like, you know, the wood that is making up the open body of the guitar, right? Like that has like so much of an effect of each little particle of like how that piece of audio moves, right? Until you can replicate that down to that precision of data point, you're never going to be able to get a synthesized guitar that sounds like a guitar, in my opinion. I mean, you know, you can get it close, right? But that's the whole thing with like integrals and approximations in physics, where it's like you can use an integral to get the perfect amount of coverage of an area under a curve, but when you start to try to do an approximation with like all the rectangles, you start to miss up little spaces where you're not able to perfectly fit rectangles, you know, underneath this curve because they can only fit so much space, right? So you're not going to get a perfect match one-to-one of an organic waveform. It's going to sound computerized. It's going to sound like an approximation. It's never going to be so that with this band, right, like the organicness of the instrumentation, the musicianship, the fact that there is no like time code that they're on, it makes it that much more understandable to be able to be like, oh, that's why this song sounds different every night. That's why it doesn't sound like the album. That's why this version of this sounds like different than that version. Because even the room itself makes it sound different, right? But
sure,
that factor on top of everything else of what already makes the song sound different where they play it is the fact that they genuinely are playing it different every night, because there is no like, I have to hit this. I mean, yeah, they have to hit their marks for like the different portions of the song, right? But it's not like I have to hit this exact solo exactly as I did it on the solo on that album and play it exactly the same. And if I don't, someone in the audience is going to be mad. It's like, no, we're not expecting. I would not be happy if Derek did the same Gravity solo every time. You know, it would be like, okay, I've seen him do this 100 times. Why am I doing this again? You know,
go see another band.
Right. What brings me back is the fact that I'm like, what is he gonna do this time?
Yep.
You know, what is Alicia gonna do? What is Kebby gonna do? Like, is he gonna do this crazy thing, or is he gonna, you know, whatever? I could go on for another like 40 minutes, but I won't.
I think you just did, my friend.
Oh shit! Really?
Maybe. I appreciate it, but I do gotta go, man. Thank you so much for everything. I appreciate the time and the stories. I'm glad you got to have all those amazing experiences. May you continue to have
hell yeah,
many, many, many more like it. Thank you so much, man.
Of course, Adam. It's always a pleasure to be on this podcast, and I really appreciate what you do.
You got any? Thank you. You got any more TTB shows coming up this year?
No, this is gonna be, that was 8 for me, so nice. I'm done for the year. In terms of shows, I wish I could make it down to New York, but you know, with traffic and everything, I got to do things remotely now. So
I feel you. Well, we'll see.
You got
more
anything
shows next year soon enough? What's that?
You got anything coming up?
Not at the moment. No, not at the moment.
So we're in the same position then.
All good. We got archive.org.
For sure.
And the cap stream this week.
The cap stream. I'll definitely be watching.
I'll recap that. Take care, man. Thank you again.
Take care. Later. Peace.
So there you go. Episode 175, recapping Boston, Providence, 4 shows. Zach, Tracey, thank you so much. Hope everyone's doing okay out there. at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. Subscribe on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. I appreciate that. I'll get the audio version out soon. Subscribe on YouTube, patreon.com/TTB podcast, patreon.com/TTB podcast to support. TedeschiTrucksPodcast.com will send you to a link tree to everything related to this show. AdamChoik.com for everything else I'm working on. TedeschiTrucksBand.com is the band's official website. Definitely check that out. Buy tickets to there's some more shows coming up in November. Definitely see the band if you can. Download the Swamp Family app. Join the Swamp Family fan club. If not, just for the Nugs shows coming up, Nugs.net shows coming up this week at Capitol Theater. Was it Tuesday and Wednesday? But yeah, definitely go to TedeschiTrucksBand.com and you'll find out about all that information. But I think that's about all I got for today. Thank you to the band, fans, podcast supporters, guests, Patreon supporters, Zach, Tracey, everyone. Let's talk soon. Peace.